Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. Now, we have had multiple derbies taking place over the last few days, and this one, the icing on the cake. Munster versus Leinster, the Irish derby that everyone always looks forward to. And to be fair, with where they're sitting on the table, this game has big implications. Looking at first place at the moment, it is Glasgow, who are sitting on the 30 points. If Leinster even walk away from this game with 1 point, theoretically, they will be jumping back to number one. Munster, they are in 6th, but if they win this contest, they do come in as underdogs. They could find themselves jumping right up to 3rd place, just behind Leinster. So there is a lot on the line. These two sides, they know how to play some very entertaining rugby when they go head-to-head, and this game will be no different. Looking through at the Munster starting lineup, they are at home, so I should mention, so they've got that little bit of an advantage in that regard, but are still considered the underdogs. It will be Kilcoyne in the front row alongside Barron and Ollie Jaeger. Of course, ex-Crusaders man getting the chance for Munster this season. Adogbo at number 4 and Gavin Coombs actually going to be playing number 5. A little bit of a change compared to what we saw for him last year, where he was mainly in that loose ball trio. Ahern at number 6, Hodden at number 7, and Jack O'Donoghue to close out the 4 back at 8. Craig Casey and Jack Crowley, the 9-10 combo, and then in the midfield, Alex Nankerville and Anton Frisch, Shane Daly, Calvin Nash, and Simon Zebo will be the back 3. So a little bit of a reshuffle, I would say, for Munster in terms of their overall side compared to what we saw last year. They've got a few players playing slightly different positions, but still a very strong side overall. In this match for Leinster, it is Andrew Porter, Kelleher, and also Michael Alatoa and number 3. So actually both sides having ex-Crusaders props as their tight heads. Ross Maloney and McCarthy as the 4 and 5 combo. Deegan, Penny, and Jack Conan there. And number 8, Jamison Gibson Park and Harry Byrne as the 9-10 combo. Frawley and Ringrose in the midfield. Then out on one wing it will be Rob Russell. Out in the other, Jordan Lama. And then at number 15, Hugo Keenan to close out the Leinster starting lineup. Looking through at form for these two sides. We will start, of course, with Munster, the home side. They've had some rough games, I would say, but they've also had some very good ones along the way. The most notable, of course, when they did play Leinster only about a month and a bit ago. That was their contest that was taking place as a Leinster home game, and they were just narrowly defeated, 21 points to 16. They had a good win over the Stormers, who look like they are now starting to find their form, so it is a good game to have under the belt with a win over them. Then they were defeated in the Champions Cup. They had a draw in the Champions Cup. So they haven't got off to the greatest start there, but the URC is certainly the competition that they want to go far in, and they have got great potential at doing so. For Leinster in their starting, or sorry, not in their starting, but in their recent form, they were able to beat the Sale Sharks. They also beat the defending champions of the Champions Cup, that is La Rochelle, winning at 16 points to 9. They're actually on a 5-match winning streak at least, based off recent form, so they should be able to continue that, but the fact that they come in as favourites, Munster normally love being the underdog, and I think that that might just push them that little bit harder. I should mention late injury. It is going to actually be McGrath as the starting 9, so there will not be a Jamison Gibson Park, and then off the bench they have actually made the change as well. So no Jamison Gibson Park. That is the last minute change by the looks of it. For Leinster, we have got Hi All and Hamish. Happy Box Day to the other side of the world, says Robert. And also Merry Christmas, Hamish bro, and how's my uncle and auntie? Merry Christmas for both of uncle and auntie, says Michelle. And also who's going to win, the team with the most South African players in it? Well, there are limited South Africans playing in this contest. And I mean, Leinster, they are always very tough to beat. Although away from home, you've got that little bit more of a chance. Munster, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? The fact that they do come in as such underdogs. When you look at their team and you realise these are the same guys who won the URC last year, but they still, up against the Irish side in blue, are considered as the side who might come up second best. But currently they are playing zombie at the ground as the two sides charge their way out onto the park and they get ready for what will be an awesome derby on the 26th over there, the 27th here in New Zealand. The last game, I believe, for these two sides before the new year. And hey, Hamish, I watched the Burnley-Liverpool Premier game. Liverpool won that game by 2-0. It'll be interesting to see who wins here in Ireland franchise rivalry, says Marnus. I will just quickly fact check that. Have they got another game? Yes, they do. On the 2nd of January, though, for Munster. So that will be up against Connor. So another Irish derby there. Then they've got their Champions Cup games starting on the 14th of January. Then for Leinster, they have also got a game on that 2nd of January. And that is going to be up against Ulster. So 2 Irish derbies coming around the corner for these 2 Irish sides. But they cannot look past their opponents in this game. It looks like it will be Harry Byrne to kick this one off for Leinster. They are going from right to left, and it will be Andrew Brace in charge of this match. We are just about ready to go for this exciting matchup, ladies and gents. Do let me know your score predictions in the comments down below. I am slightly in favour of Leinster in terms of predictions, but I feel like Munster more than likely will make this a real fight, and that is exactly what they need to do. But Jack O'Donoghue running that one up to the 10-metre line, and already the penalty goes to Leinster. That is within about 19 seconds that they win their first penalty there. Jacko in position, they'll be penalised, and already Harry Byrne will take on the 3 points. And it is raining for this matchup. We did see a couple of the other derbies earlier on in the weekend affected by rain. Great low tackle made initially by Max Deegan, and then just joining the breakdown wrong. Elbows were down. And now Leinster looking for the kicking tee, which has actually taken a lot longer than it took for them to win the penalty. I think that was actually Barron who's been penalised for that one, but a minute down. And the rain is almost going sideways. So unfortunately, that is the kind of weather that we might be expecting for the next little while for some of these Irish games that are taking place. We have got their Merry Christmas as well. And also we have got their Kiwi lads and family from a windy Cape Town, evening game-ish. Oh, well, it's Munster's Monsters without a doubt tonight. The kick has gone over. Yeah, I hope everyone did have a very good Christmas. Hopefully you are doing pretty well just before the new year as well. We're almost in 2024, which is quite scary because 2023 has gone way too quick. 90 seconds in, 3 points to Leinster. Dream start, really, for them. The only thing that would have made it better, of course, is if they were able to score that try, but I'm sure that they will be coming later on in the contest. They can't rush it. Make sure that they just wait for their opportunities. Johannes said, hello, Hamish. Welcome in, mate. If you are doing well, once again, it is going to be kicked off. This time by Munster, kicking long into Leinster territory. Nice bit of work there from Frowley. Playing number 12 for this match. One moment. We'll go like this. I am about to sneeze. There we go. We are back. It's going to be kicked downfield from Luke McGrath inside of the 22. Simon Zebo, nice attack and run for Munster. Now find themselves about 42 metres out from the Leinster line. And the crowd are electric at the moment at Thorntman Park. Casey going across there to the left-hand side, finds Jack O'Donoghue in morning. Is the hay fever getting to you? Or is the hay fever getting to you, Hamish? Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a forward pass from Munster. It looks like they are going to say yes. We can keep playing just for now. Craig Casey goes back across to Barron. Great low tackle made by Penny. Now inside of their own half, Crowley decides that it is time to try and boot this one downfield. Now it's close to a 50-22, although it does roll just dead. So they will actually lose about 50 metres due to that process. Did you have a nice Christmas lunch? Yeah, it was good. Had a bit of a catch up with some of the family. And then just evening we were here, which was nice and chilled out. It's always nice. We look at the Xmas is over now for some leftovers from Xmas dinner, says Ruth. Simon Zebo doing well to take that ball on the halfway line and saw a bit of a gap that he could try and go through. It's his defence. They don't miss too many tackles. It looks like Craig Casey might already have a bit of an injury. We're only 3.5 minutes through this contest, and he has already taken a knee. Hopefully he will be all right. We saw the last-minute change of Jameson Gibson Park, no longer in the starting lineup for Leinster. Looks like Craig Casey might be on that same boat of maybe some sort of injury trouble. Like they've said, there's quite a few changes that Munster have had to make due to injuries. The likes of Jack Crowley getting to start at number 10 is something that they probably didn't think that they would be using this soon. As Joey Carberry did seem like a very good option for fly half, but Crowley stepped up. He's done exactly what he's needed to in that number 10 jersey. Now it's going to be the scrum around the halfway line. Looking good, Hamish. You simply don't stop, superstar, says Roof. And that is probably a good time to mention I'm going on holiday tomorrow. So we will be stopping for a few days because, well, for one, there's no rugby on, which is kind of good while we're away, or at least for the start of the trip. A moment, I'm about to sneeze again. We are good. But yeah, we will be away for, I think it's 5 days, something like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, there, Leinster will hammer these inbreds from Munster, says Barry Power. I didn't even realise that was like a rumour about Munster. To be fair, we have got there, Hamish, have you murdered a fish with a rock? Not recently, so she'll be right. We have got there, how dare you, says Barry Power. Currently 4.5 minutes down. I feel like this is the type of match that the first 10 minutes normally is a bit more of a feeling out process and it goes a little bit slower, and then the next 30 minutes just flies by and all of a sudden we're at half time. Now going off to that right-hand side, McGrath looking for that chip in behind, slowly curving, and that one's going to go dead as well. No one quite getting it right at the moment in terms of how much they need to put on those kicks. The last video, it looked like you were a Japanese villain in a Godzilla movie, says Robert, so I assume that is the one that I had the Christmas tree on my head. Which of course would sound very confusing for anyone who hasn't watched the Kiwi Lads Entertainment channel, but yeah, we reacted to Namibian, what would you even call it? A Namibian, like, animal camera? Just a bit of a weird one, but that's alright. And bless you, I have hay fever and sympathise, especially when it's wind, or when the wind is blowing, pollen and dust up my nose, says Roof, and yes, says Robert. Now another scrum. I think this game's almost had more scrums already in the first 5 minutes than some of the other games of the weekend have had in 80. But a few loose balls and whatnot. Early on, that's gone down in both front row, and this time Leinster get themselves the penalty again, and Penny was fired up on this near side. Ollie Yeager, the man who has been penalised for that one. Andrew Porter just getting the advantage. Oh, we got another stoppage. This time it is going to be Barron who is getting the medical attention. Doesn't look too flash. We have got there, Ken Fisher said, has someone murdered me? Not that we know of. Unless you are an imposter of yourself who is typing. That's a really ugly way to fall for the front row, unfortunately. Looks like he Right, we're back, ladies and gents. Wi-Fi completely cut out there, which is very unfortunate, definitely during a game of rugby. But, hello. Hope everyone is doing all right. Currently, Leinster on the attack, I believe. Although they have blown that opportunity by the looks of it, it is kicked back downfield. But thank you, everyone, for sticking around while the Wi-Fi was playing up. But, yeah, bit unfortunate, really. Currently, Leinster on the attack. 8 minutes into this contest as well, I should mention. I'm stacking on Japanese yakitori chicken, Lay's crisps, and gin and tonic, says Ruth there. It's going to be kicked downfield. Mark taken from Crowley just inside of his 22. A little bit too much on that kick. Now, they just said about Jamison Gibson Park being out just an hour before the game is when the commentators found out that it was going to be Luke McGrath instead. It's Modem Boxing Day, says Gus. Yeah, guess what I'll be buying today? Some new Wi-Fi. But luckily it came back. I thought it was going to take like 10 or 15 minutes for it to pop back in, but luckily it found the internet relatively quickly. Now, line out throw here for Ronan Kelleher and Leinster. Now, I don't actually know what they did with that last penalty. I assume they kicked it for the corner. Either that or maybe they missed the conversion, but for me, the coverage had frozen. What's Boxing Day? It's pretty much the day after Christmas. And there's a few countries that kind of celebrate it, a few other countries that just don't, but it's pretty much a day where there's just a whole heap of sales and whatnot in shops. I'm currently watching the Premier League match between Man United and Aston Villa. Says Marnus. Now inside of their own 22, Byrne going with the return kick down the middle of the field, and that one has pulled up in the field of play. So starting to get maybe the distance right on those kicks. Crowley has birded it back downfield. Hugo Keenan waiting for the bounce of the ball. It never quite sits up for him, so now Crowley has to run it 40 metres out. St. Stephen's Day, you mean, says Barry Powell. Well, it depends on where you're from. Like, of course, some people call it Christmas. Some people call it other things, but it just depends on where you are. There's no right or wrong answer in that case. Now 30 metres out, the right-hand side. And Hamish, you're doing live commentary between Australia versus Pakistan or South Africa versus India, day 2 later today. We are not. No, not for those two, unfortunately. We were going to do day 1, but then we just watched it with the family, so it was a nice way of doing it. It's going to be, by the looks of it, another penalty, or is there a knock-on? It might have been knock-on against Leinster. And if that sounds tasty, says Gus. And also, we go there. I'm not familiar with the island, although I went to school with a girl called Ruth Foster from Belfast in the 80s, says Ruth. And what's your prediction for the game between Man United and Aston Villa? I have no idea who's in that game in terms of players, so I can't give you a prediction. That one by Andrew Porter just having a juggle with the ball, which does mean we are going to have another scrum feed here. Now Craig Casey about to put the ball in territory. 79% in favour of Leinster throughout the first 11 minutes of this contest. And not a great week with my prediction for the URC, says Jan Lou. I mean, the good news is there's been quite a few close games, though, and that's the same with the Champions Cup. At least when there are upsets, it's due to a game going down to the wire and then the underdog just wanting it that little bit more and managing to get themselves the win. But it'll be interesting moving forward, just going into the new year with a few changes for all of the sides in terms of who's going to be in that starting lineup. Like Sharks versus Stormers on New Year's should be a very good game. Though I'm not sure if we're going to be back from holiday on that date to be able to cover it yet. What do you think of Jaeger as a player? I mean, he did well for the Crusaders. But then saying that, who doesn't do well for the Crusaders when they are as dominant as they were? So, he's not a bad player. He's just won the penalty, I believe, here. For a side? Yeah, he has. Up against Andrew Porter, so it's a pretty decent one. And we had the really close games. I liked it. Also a good match. Okay, that's fine, Hamish. I thought you'd know a bit of the players in that teams. Says Marnus, I haven't been following the Premier League for probably about 5 years. Somewhere around there. And Hayes try time down under, welcome in. And also Liverpool drew with Arsenal, no. Says Ruth. Now ball is kicked into touch by Munster. One moment, I am going to sneeze again. It's about the fourth one now. We are good. They are just talking about Odogbo. The fact that he is 6'5", 19 years old, very bright future for Munster. Liverpool just won at Turf Moor today. And did you watch the cricket yesterday? I did. Pakistan, they will soon learn that if they don't take their chances, it's going to be a long day at the office. And I feel like that is what they've got themselves now, because Australia look, well, they just look set again, don't they? The rain was unfortunate. A couple hours that we had to wait for it to get back underway, but that one has been put high by Craig Casey, swirling towards the touchline. I think it's ended up brushing Thomas Ahern in the end. So yeah, will be the Leinster line out. Apparently the crowd chanting, trying to get behind their side. Oh, we've had another double blow of the whistle from Andrew Brace. They were possibly closing the gap a little bit there, Munster. I guess it's spring in New Zealand, says Robert. We are actually in summer at the moment, I believe. But hay fever's still, unfortunately, well and truly a thing for myself. Now, Frawley going to be kicking that one downfield for Leinster. And Barry Boxing Day is a beach day after Xmas here in South Africa. Says Ruth. Nice attack and run forward from Simon Zebo. He's actually playing 15 for this game. They've got Nash and Daly as the two wingers. And the Renegades still haven't won a game of the BBL this season. And that loss to the Scorchers was because Nick Madison decided to be an idiot and play test cricket and slowed the run rate down. Says strike time down under. Well, I assume that the Stars, I don't know whether they got their win yesterday up against the Sixers, but if they didn't, they are still in the same boat. I can't speak today. I must be like full and well and truly drunk or something. But yeah, unfortunately, Melbourne not going too well in the BBL, and I'm about to sneeze again. One moment. We are good. This stream, one of the smoothest running ones we've ever had. The Wi-Fi's gone out, sneezing every 2 minutes. It is raining in this game, unfortunately, which has meant there's a few more handling errors, but Leinster were able to win themselves the penalty there with Porter. We cover a bit of day two between South Africa and India tonight. I will not, unfortunately, because we will be leaving bright and early tomorrow morning for about a 4-hour drive. So, yeah, unfortunately, I will miss most of day two of India versus South Africa. I think I'll be able to watch some of day three, maybe. But I won't be able to stream it because I will be somewhere else. The Stars won yesterday. Now we sit bottom of the ladder. Fold the club, get rid of the players. Think it's a holiday. Now that kick is going to be good. So 6 points to 0 in favour of Leinster now after just the 16 minutes. So they have started this match pretty well. Haven't really been under too much trouble from this Munster attack. And now he's take some hot chocolate with a tot of rum and garlic. With ginger and honey, it'll cure you forever. Says Ruth. And also, it's fine. Where are you guys going for a holiday? So we are going to Wanaka. That's the plan anyway. I feel like we're going to be floating around the South Island a little bit. But Wanaka is base camp, I guess is the best way of putting it. Now, nice run full from Frawley. Used to work with the Rebels because it's normal for us to lose games. Says Triton down under. Now McGrath will put up the box kick again. Nicely taken by Simon Zebo. On the halfway line, someone in Auckland. But it was raining on Christmas. Yeah, well, I think it was raining most places in New Zealand for Christmas, unfortunately. We had, for a start, drizzle. And then it just bucketed down. And then it was kind of behaving itself. But it was still a wettening drizzle that you can't really like sit outside in, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of wet enough to make you go back in. And then Boxing Day, well, yesterday for us was even worse. Was it raining yesterday in Auckland too as well? Do let me know. But with the Renegades, we went from BBL champions to the laughing stock of the BBL. So here's Triton down under. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, there always does have to be the team that sits in last And at this stage, the Renegades just haven't quite been able to find that form. They probably will near the end of the season. They seemed to do that last year, I think. Whereas if the Rebels ever win Super Rugby, it won't surprise me if we have a slump. My expectations are not high as well. Okay, sounds like a lovely place, says Marnus. And I was like, yeah. So yeah, the weather hasn't been great for the Kiwi summer. At this point, I think it's going to rain today as well, to be fair. It was raining on Boxing Day, but in the evening it was all right. Oh, yeah, Simon Zebo. I think he might have had his head almost stood on there in the breakdown. Yeah, Scott Penny actually ended up pretty much raking his boot down the side of Simon Zebo's head. There was thunder and lightning here yesterday when it bucketed down. Very stormy weather, says Simran. So yeah, it's unfortunate that, like, normally during Christmas and whatnot, that's when people want to go outside. They want to go camping. You wouldn't really want to go camping. You'd probably get flooded at this point, but yeah, hopefully the sunny days are just around the corner. Maybe. It doesn't look too flash though. We have a serious hectic wind blowing and 3 fires raging around Cape Town for 4 days. Terrible shame. My only expectation is for us to make the finals. Even if we get knocked out first week, the fact that we made the finals is an achievement within itself. Says Try Time Down Under. Now, Munster, they are going to be kicking this one towards the corner. Should I mention we've had about 10 minutes of stoppage here for the first 17 minutes of play. That's a great kick. And that's pretty harsh. That is extremely harsh from the touch judge. Tell you what, he's gone from maybe looking at 5 or 10 metres out from the line to being about 20 metres out, and the crowd are not happy about it. And, I mean, it's probably fair enough, the amount of ground that they've lost there. But now the rolling maul for Munster. They've already had to make that change of Barron after he was not quite able to continue the match after injury. Now Casey goes across to Alex Nankerville. Good crashing run from him, but Frawley misses the tackle now. Now 10 metres out from the line. Casey goes back across to a dog bow. One moment. No, we're good. I thought I was going to sneeze, but we are fine. Craig Casey now pops the ball up to Coombs. Now back to Casey. Ollie Jaeger doesn't get too many running meters when he was playing for the Crusaders, but looks like Munster are going to use him as a real crash baller. Try and make those few extra meters. Now Nankerville chopped down at the kneecaps by Gary Ringrow. Short side from Craig Casey, but his foot was in touch. Okay, there I missed the Reels' first game of the season because I'm going to see the Rocky Horror Show the same night at the theatre. I can't put that off because Rocky Horror is only in Melbourne for bye. Says Try Time Down Under. And also, come on, people, let's go hit that lights button. Kiwi lads rock this game. Says Ruth. Yeah, great run from Alex Nankerville to be able to bulldoze his way just a little bit closer towards the try line. And Casey, yeah, just runs out of space. Had his foot on the touchline just there, that step. But if he hadn't gone out there, he was going to be a very dangerous option down that short side. And Cavell taking a few deep breaths now, though, after that nice run down the wing for a little bit. Because it's an encore run. It's only in Melbourne for a short period of time. Says Amelia. Now 19 minutes into the contest. One moment. We are good. Starting the Christmas streams well, I guess is the best way of describing it. And who knows how long I'd have to wait for the next run in Australia. I'm not waiting a decade, which might be as long as you're waiting for the Renegades to come right in the BBL. Sorry, that was pretty harsh, wasn't it? But now, looking for the line out about 20 metres out from their own line here. Leinster, another change being made here. I'm worried Munster are going to run out of subs soon. I think they've already had to make the 2. Head injury assessment, that is Kilcoyne off, and Jeremy Luckman has made his way onto the field. Now Luke McGrath Rolling this ball back, and it is going to go up high. Nice. Oh, it's just gone straight through the hands of Daly. Bad enough. Could be waiting who knows how long. Could be for the Phantom of the Opera to return for another run. Says try time down under. Now 20 minutes gone in this contest. Only the 6 points to Leinster due to the, I guess, the slippery conditions. It has meant for a lot more of a stop-start kind of contest, which is a shame because, of course, we want to see that free-flowing rugby, that both of these sides know exactly how to play. Currently, they are just struggling a little bit to be able to find that momentum. Now, Andrew Porter, he'll be getting used to scrum time at this point. This is about his 4th one in the last 5 minutes. Get some local honey and put it in your tea. Helps with the allergies. I reunited with Josh on Christmas Eve at this function in the city. He recognised me and I gave him a hug. Says Amelia. And now McGrath. Ball is available at the back. Going off to the left-hand side. Nice loop in play for Leinster, managing to break through one of the tackle attempts. Was Jordan Lama. He's running sideways at the moment, but he has managed to find his pass out on the outside to Rob Russell. Currently for Leinster, though, lack of ball security on the ground means that Munster managed to get themselves the turnover with Casey, who boots it downfield. Frawley cleans it up. And now we'll look for the kick of his own back towards the 22 of Munster, cleaned up by Shane Daly, who has managed to hang on to that one. And makes it towards the halfway line. Casey, back to Luckman, the injury replacement for Kilcoyne, as we wait to find out whether or not his head injury assessment is going to be passed or not. And that's going to be, is it a penalty advantage? No, just continue on. I think the crowd thought that the Leinster player went through the side. They probably had an argument. I was sitting in the corner eating my food and I don't know how he recognised me, even though last time he saw me I had the buzz cut that was growing. There's Amelia, but that is going to be the knock on there. It looks like time off. Is the referee about to call players over to say, can we stop dropping the ball? Or I assume there's some discipline that is going on. I would actually, no, I take it back. I assume it's for that last breakdown where players were yelling. Yeah, Andrew Brace pretty much said, I'm not going to have players screaming and shouting for every decision. Same was said to Gary Ringrose for Leinster. Only 6-0 at the moment in favour of the away side. Now Frawley's down. That'll be more injury time that we have got here. This might be a 2 hours something game at this stage, which would be unfortunate, but 21 minutes gone. Kickoff 35 minutes ago. So we've currently had 14 minutes of injury time / stoppages. We have good there. Okay, looks like Munster need a kick up the backside to get moving. Unfortunately, they just haven't been able to handle the ball in the wet conditions. I think that has been the real hurting factor for this side. They are just showing Jack Conan there. This cap on. In fact, no, I see Naneba. So there, Andrew Goodman was the man who they showed. And I was like, yeah, Robert, a natural honey, the best, says Ruth. Right. We've got another stoppage and another scrum now. 21 minutes through. I'm going to see it again tomorrow. Says Amelia. So how many times is that now? Is that your second time or is that more than 2 that you've gone to? I almost sneezed, but we're good. Okay, both front rows standing up again. Pre-engaged. Okay, Michael Alatoa, the last 2 scrums, he said that he's gone a little bit too early. I would assume if he does it again, he will be penalised. I think that tomorrow will be round 7. Okay, so just a couple times, you know. You probably know all the words off by heart by now. 3 penalties conceded at the moment for Munster compared to the 2 conceded by Leinster. But scrum time has been a bit 50-50. We've seen Jaeger win penalties. We've also seen him give them away to Andrew Porter. The ball is available now for Jack O'Donoghue. Little bit of maybe offside behaviour there from Luke McGrath, but now Munster are going to put the ball up again. Even my cats are getting fed up with this wind blowing every day here in Cape Town, says Ruth. Now Craig Casey getting ready to put this ball up again here. I mean, the kicking-orientated game and a weather-conditioned contest like this, you're probably going to opt for it quite a bit. Come on, Munster, you must win this game, says at the net. And of course, if they manage to get themselves a win, that's another knock-on. In fact, I think it was almost a double knock-on, but Leinster, they are going to be playing on just for now. McGrath looks for his offload. And Simon Zebo manages to put the ball into touch. Just the try-saving tackle at the end. I'll be off work for the next 3 days. Lots of movies to watch, says Ruth. I just showing the replay here. Even the camera that they're using is covered in water at this point, but McGrath looking for that last offload and just knocks it on in the process. It's going to be the scrum now for Munster. 10 metres out from their line, so this will now be... I mean, Zebo was giving him the eyes there, as if to say, just got you. Although he will be quite nervous as well, because that was a very good break for Leinster, and if they can't shut down that early, could find themselves in quite a bit of trouble. Referee are wanting the players to bind up and get ready. This one for Munster will probably just be an exit your 22 kind of scenario. You do not want to end up messing around with the ball this close, or else could be trouble for them. Ball is going to be fed in. Both front rows going down. Munster get themselves the penalty. That was the ideal scenario for them here. And we'll be able to boot this ball towards the touchline now. More Rugby says, no, Mum, yeah, nice early morning start for us in this game here in New Zealand. The next game that is taking place, I believe, is the 31st. And that will be for the URC derby between the Sharks and the Stormers. We are back again. I do apologise for the hay fever, ladies and gents. Unfortunately, I have taken hay fever tablets, but apparently they don't work. I think best way of describing it. Leinster Southern Ireland keeping Munster away from the try line, says Ruth. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Munster, I don't believe have had an attack inside of Leinster's 22, with the exception of that Craig Casey break down the wing when he went into touch. Other than that, I think they've found themselves... It was rush defence. Oh no, in fact, they're going back for in through the side against Jack Conan in the ruck, or in the maul. Now they will be kicking this one towards the touchline again here, Munster, and they'll slowly keep on building metres. Okay, I think they might have actually been penalised for multiple things. That kick has gone into touch. The referee, once again, does not give him any credit for that kick and takes him right back. It's not your fault. You do what you have to do, says Simran there. Yeah, although by now I should have worked out which hay fever tablet does work and which doesn't. This one I now know doesn't. But now it's going to be thrown in, slapped away by Leinster, who managed to get themselves a turnover on the halfway line. Ronan Kelleher manages to clean that ball up. Are we watching any movie with Tommy Lee Jones in it? Says Ruth. I don't think I've probably ever watched a Tommy Lee Jones movie, if I'm being honest. I can't think of what he looks like. Going to be put high. Simon Zebo, well taken under the high ball. Manages to retain that ball now for Munster. Now Casey back across to the right-hand side. Nice attack and play there. And hey mate, I hope you enjoyed Christmas. It was good. Overall, it was nice to have a bit of a break in terms of just editing and everything along those lines. Although we are straight back to it now, of course, trying to prepare for the few days that we are away. Craig Casey managing to get that ball back now for Munster. I feel for you, mate, says Robert. And there's a problem in the USA where the ingredients in non-prescription allergy products are using an active ingredient proven to be ineffective, says Gus. And Nazi said, Merry Christmas, Kiwi lads, whānau. I hope all is well and go Munster, says Nazi. So hopefully you did have a good Christmas, mate. You were able to enjoy maybe the not so nice weather. Actually, now that I think about it, whereabouts you would be, but yeah, hopefully the weather gets better before New Year's. Because it's all well and good having the fireworks, but if the fireworks are on a rainy night, it's not quite as good. I'm going to have to mute again. My apologies. There we go. We're a bit rusty after Christmas, it would seem. We've had the internet cut out. We've had to stop about 20 times to either blow my nose or sneeze. Fun times. Don't stress, Arish. Are you doing fantastic there? What's your record for sneezes? Mine's 15. And nice right up there. Oh, nice. Right now up here in Auckland. Says Nazi, Merry Christmas, Hamish, and prosperous New Year. And right back at you, CK. I hope Leinster score again, says Danton. Yeah, at the moment we're 28 minutes in. Another scrum and another penalty goes the way of Leinster. Like I said, the game within the game at the moment is Porter versus Jaeger. You'd have to say advantage at the moment does go the way of Porter. Now another line out. I'm just going to have a quick little check here. How many scrums have we had? Because there's been a lot. And it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just, it's something I've noticed. Did Doug Howlett play for Munster back in the days? I think he might have. Quite a few years ago, of course, but yeah, maybe. Okay, they don't actually have the scrum stat by the looks of it. Oh, that kick has gone out on the full from Craig Casey. Do you know Wayne? Or do you think Wayne Smith and Razor makes a good combo, seeing that New Zealand lost out to Andy Goodman? I think there's a lot of uncertainties in terms of some of the coaches and how well they will go, but it should be entertaining. See how it ends up working out. And kia ora, Roof. I hope you're behaving yourself. And also, Nuzzy, hello. Says Roof there, about 30 minutes into this contest. Now going to be going for the line out again. Didn't know Doug Howlett played in Ireland. Says Roof, they tried to go with a short one. It's going to be a 4 pass. And another scrum is about to take place. So I would say we're up to about 8 scrums at the moment throughout the first 30 minutes of this contest. That might be a little bit too harsh. Maybe only 6 with the resets. Looks like Craig Casey has now got himself an injury, so we will have more injury stoppage time, which is, it's not ideal for 2 reasons. One, because Craig Casey is one of the players that Munster will certainly want to have available here. And 2, because we've already had 14 minutes of injury stoppage time throughout the first 30 of this contest. And yeah, he did the haka against the ABs one time, I think. Says Nazi Williams. And kia ora, Nazi, I'm too exhausted and full of food and gin to behave badly. Says Ruth. The rain is still pouring. There's a lot of wind as well, they've mentioned. So it's not going to be the most free-flowing game of rugby we've ever seen between these two sides. The last time that they played, it was only a 4-point difference. Leinster managing to win that game 21 points to 17. But, well, they are just showing the replay. They might have actually said that it was a tip tackle there from Munster. Okay, yep, TMO is going upstairs to have a look at this one. Okay, so they're actually checking to see if Craig Casey did an illegal tackle, which he may have in this case. Yeah, they're low. Okay, Andrew Brace. Going to be checking this one. Is it humid where you are? There's a little bit of humidity. It's not too bad at the moment. My temperature gauge on my computer says it's near a record for heat. Yep, Craig Casey tipping him above the horizontal. So that's probably going to be at least a penalty. Maybe, I'd say that's probably even a yellow card for driving him down. He's landed on his head. Yeah, kind of shoulders, back of the neck. Look at there, I'm always relaxed when listening to Hamish. Smooth commentary, he's the king. Says Ruth there. Penalty yellow card sounds like it will be the case for Craig Casey. So he did end up with some sort of injury. Luckily, in his case, he will have 10 minutes to now recover from it. Bonjour, Kiwi lads from Lyon. Says Razor, welcome in. And it is 65% here, even with our heat pump on, dehumidify. Says Novma. Hope you had a good Christmas, you too, Razor. You're excited for the new year, just around the corner, of course. They are just talking about that yellow card that is coming for Casey. I just try to stop myself from sneezing, but it just keeps hitting me in the mush, unfortunately. Something in the air. Now, 10 metres out from the line, Leinster have got themselves another line out. It's going to be nicely taken there by Ross Maloney. Sounds like there's an advantage for lifting the legs. Now, short side killer. Look for the offload. Another knock on there from Jordan Lama. They'll go back for the penalty. I'd like to think that Leinster with a man advantage would actually go for the corner here and try and build that pressure rather than taking on the three and relieving it. Looks like Harry Byrne will be doing just that. Our weather in Philadelphia is almost exactly the same. We just had winter solstice a few days ago. Says Gus. Now 9 minutes remaining of that Craig Casey. Oh, they don't have a ball. There it is. They managed to find one. Andrew Porter at the moment having a long chat with Ronan Keller. They want to work out exactly how they can break through this Munster defence. The rain's still pouring at Thornton Park. Nicely taken to the front by Maloney. And the Leinster rolling maul is just about to get into motion as they march closer and closer. They're only 2 metres out at the moment, although the ball, I believe, is trapped in the middle. It's gone down. I think they've kept that ball in there, Munster. Yes, they have. And they will get themselves the scrum 5 metres out from their own line. Brilliant roll and maul defence. Not conceding with 14 on the field. And Cape Town has been very hot but windy. Did you sleep with a woman with perfume on? I did not, Robert. No. No, so it can't be that. But, nah, just hay fever. Unfortunately. Hopefully it's gone soon. I feel like normally we have it for a little bit of a live stream and then it goes away. But this one, it's just decided to stick around so far throughout the whole time. Although, to be fair, in a normal game scenario, would almost be in the second half now. And this one, we've still got another 8 minutes or so remaining in the first half. We've got another scrum feed here as well, I should mention. Hello, says Nazi. And I'll say what says Ruth. Now, ball is going to be fed in. It's time by Jack Crowley actually having to play halfback rather than the normal Craig Casey, who has gone to the bin for 10 minutes. Big push from Munster, although now it almost goes wrong for them. Jack O'Donoghue charges forward 10 metres out from the line. Now Crowley going to the left-hand side, decides to skip out Jaeger, goes to Luckman. Was tackled by Michael Toa. Was getting held into that breakdown for a bit. Manages to get his way out. Crowley setting up for a box kick by the looks of it. He's got a couple players offside in the process. Very nicely done. Although, referee says play on. Now it's going to be Jordan Lama. Mr. Crowley is the future. There's Razor Robinson. Well, depending on how he goes at future 9, maybe. Could be an option because that box kick wasn't bad. Managed to trick the defenders into getting offside in the process as well. Now Lama getting driven backwards. And that challenge back across the right-hand side. Frowley. Tackle well early. Hello to Ian Foster. I hope you had a great Christmas, Fozzie. Sears Ruth. Going back across to the left again. I can't see Ian Foster's comment. Maybe? Yeah, I haven't actually got it there. If he has commented, hello Ian, if you are here. Now going back to the left, McGrath. Skip pass. I see run forward, Munster win the penalty. That was a very high-pitched whistle. The referee looks at it as well and goes, why did it make that noise? I think he got his nuts stuck in the wrong place. It's a weird sentence, but I think it makes sense for the whistle. Now Munster. And we'll be able to kick this one towards the touchline again. Yeah, Hugo Keenan hits the ball up, and then Alex Nankervell. We know how hard he is shift when he is playing for the Chiefs. During Super Rugby, he does not like to move if he locks himself over the ball. Who is the next Wallabies coach now, mate? It's a good question. I don't think anyone actually wants the job. Because unless Australia Rugby change stuff higher up, it's just going to be the same result over and over again. And the thing is, the player pool is going to get even slimmer because they keep losing players to rugby league now as well. Oh, okay, they're trying to say there could have been a penalty there. I think he was falling into it, so I don't think there'll be anything too serious there. We'll go there. Hamish, put Vaseline up your nostrils also works. Feels weird though, says Ruth. Okay, so they're saying there was clearly a dip. Shoulder to the head, says Gary Ringrose. He wants a penalty for it. Andrew Brace saying there was a clear level change, so he can't give a penalty for that. Trying to wrap the arms. We have got a drinks break at the moment for the players. Only 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Like I mentioned, one of the longer halves that we have seen of rugby for these two sides. Already 53 minutes for 35 rugby minutes to be played. Now time is back on. Munster will be kicking this one towards the touchline. We are good now again. Ollie Jaeger says Razor Robinson and come on Munster, says Ruth in there as well. Now 4 minutes remaining. Nicely thrown into a dog bow. Sitting on the halfway line now for Munster. Slowly marching forward. And I should mention there's only 6 points on the board at the moment after the 36 minutes. So either side are still well and truly in this contest. That ball has been lost. Going to be the advantage, I believe, for a knock-on against Leinster. That ball may have gone into touch. And Glasgow says Roof. Vroom vroom, it's Razor. And also that Scottish team's, or that Scottish team last week stretched out a bit as well. Says Nazi Williams. Yeah, Glasgow versus, who was it? Glasgow versus Edinburgh, wasn't it? That it went a little bit longer than we would have liked. Now ball there for Munster again. They're about to go for that box kick. It's gone high. Calvin Nash knock on. Oh, there's going to be the advantage now to Leinster again. McGrath. Gone across to Harry Byrne. Bounce pass or bounce kick into the hands of Simon Zebo. Decides to boot it off his left. Down the middle of the field and gain 0 territory. Munster have their number on defence. Sears Razor, that one is going to be kicked into touch. A massive territorial gain, as I've said, for the Munster side. They were only just outside of their 22 and now they've managed to get to about 40 metres out from Leinster's line. 2 minutes remaining. Referee says, let's go. He's realised that they have lost a lot of time throughout this first half already. Tackles made. 52 by Leinster. Missing the 5. Munster, they have missed 6, but they've made 28 tackles And a lot of those tackles have been crucial ones. That one is thrown in. A Dogbo takes it nicely. And now Munster look to get their rolling maul going. Look like Joe McCarthy trying to get through the middle of that maul. Being able to get one hand free, so they might have to use this relatively soon, Munster. And Roof, you might need to walk 5,000 miles and then walk 5,000 more to get it. Says Gus. Do you know every player, including number 16 from Munster? Well, I know that they ended up replacing Barron with the number 16. Like, some of these guys are younger, so it will take a little bit longer to adjust to learning them, if that makes sense. But most players, I would say, we're not terrible with. Like, I can't pronounce his first name, but I know his last name's Clark. If that makes sense. Going to be kicked high now. Nicely taken by Jordan Lama. Tries to break the line again. Currently only 6 points on the board currently for these two sides. Big pressure on McGrath. Almost dropped by Harry Byrne, but he's managed to regather just before the ball hits the ground. Back into the pocket. Frawley kicks it downfield. He cannot find touch with this one. Bounces up for Crawley. Or Crowley, I should say. There's a Frawley and a Crowley in this contest. We have got there, give me Jeffro Tull any day, says Ruth. And now it is going to be kicked downfield again. 40 minutes. Kicks it into touch. Oh, does he? He almost kicked it straight to a Munster player who was waiting out on the wing. I think that was Thomas Ahern. This looks like there might be an injury for Byrne going into the second half. Yeah, Frawley trying to go for the kick into touch. Kicks it flat enough that Munster almost thought they had a chance of being able to counter-attack. But that is now half-time in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. 6 points to 0 in favour of Leinster. We have seen the 2 penalties that have been conceded this far. Then other than that, it's been a stalemate. We have got there SUAF, says Paul. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, we have got there as well, lovely Gus from Roof there as well. But we've got some stats. And all right, time to go and have a coffee and a smoke for halftime. As my father once promised, I'll be back. Says Razor Robinson. Currently looking through at the stats, 57% in favour of Munster in terms of the possession. Defenders beaten actually just narrowly in favour of Leinster. 6 defenders beaten compared to the 5 that have been defeated by Munster. 66% territory. We've seen 53 tackles made by Leinster compared to the 36 of Munster. That 91% tackle completion for Leinster is certainly helping them out. But neither of these sides wanting to budge. There's been opportunities. Stand up and fight, mate, Munster. Our motto, says Paul Howard. Yeah, at the moment, they just need to stand up and hold the ball. That is the main thing. Both of these sides have struggled with their handling. And yes, in the rainy conditions, it is going to be extremely hard to hang on to it. But there's still, whoever hangs on to the ball better in the second half, I believe, will win this game. Because we probably saw 10 scrums throughout that first half. We also saw the half went for about 58 minutes. Fun fact, we had about maybe 17 or 18 minutes of stoppages, which is a lot more than we normally see. But when you've got so many scrums and resets, when it comes to that scrums, they do slowly add up. But yeah, it will be interesting. See who does better in the second half. Definitely in the early stages of the second half after the team talks. Currently 6 penalties against Munster, 5 against Leinster, relatively even in that department. One moment, we will go like this. We are good. Yeah, interesting first half. I feel like it's got that real close feel to it. And neither side able to fully take their chances. They are just showing the highlights of the first half, which does actually just involve 2 penalty kicks that they are shown. He's still leaning towards Leinster. I think until Munster get on the board, Leinster are still going to be considered as favourites for this contest. And I think that'll be the case on the TAB as well. One moment. TAB. this one. And where are we? Sport. Rugby. Where to rugby? Rugby Union. There we go. So yeah, Munster are $4.60 underdogs at the moment in this contest. And then Leinster are $1.18. So there's a bit of a difference between the two sides. But yeah, both can still lose. I think is the best way of looking at it. Both can win, both can lose. So there's still potential for a little bit of an upset in the second half. I'll top up my gin and tonic, and there is a storm in Limerick at the minute. It's horrible conditions, literally a storm, says Paul. And also Rock and Rod Stewart is a famous Scotsman, says Ruth. And there's also, I think at the moment, this might be the only game that is currently taking place for the rugby side of things. Of course, the French Top 14 and the Gallagher Premiership, they will be returning on Saturday. For anyone wondering when the next games are for these two sides, for Munster, they have got Connacht next week, then Toulon, as well as Northampton, and the Champions Cup back to Scarlets and Zebre for the next two games of the URC after that one. And then for Leinster, there we go. They've got Ulster next week, Stade Francais, and then the Leicester Tigers in 25 days' time. Benetton and Cardiff for their two next URC fixtures after next week. One moment. We are good. Well, we're getting there. Why is it still being played during a storm? Says Paul. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, like the conditions, we've seen rainy conditions before, right? But yeah, it's just not good at the moment for either of these sides. And who knows how this game would have gone if it was played in dry conditions. At the moment, Leinster, you'd have to argue they've been the more clinical side because they've got those two penalties, but Munster have probably had the better attacking chances with the exception of Leinster's rolling maul 5 metres from the line. Good evening from a very cold Spain. C.S. Smith Harris there. And what do you call an Irishman without a watch? Says Ruth, this seems like a dangerous question, Ruth. And I don't think I have any good answer for it that won't sound bad. So I'll let you tell it. Do let me know. The URC, as you mentioned, is going to be taking place this weekend as well. I think there's only the one game. Well, there may only be a couple matches. That is going to be... One moment, we'll click here. This weekend, there's actually going to be 3 games. Stormers versus the Sharks, Benetton versus Zebre, and Glasgow Warriors versus Edinburgh. So actually the second of the double headers between Edinburgh and Glasgow. And then Stormers Sharks, the other game that will be taking place as a derby. And then Benetton Zebre just a little bit earlier on in the morning. There, Connacht, Munster. And there for Tuesday, the 2nd of January. And then Leinster Ulster, that is also on the 2nd of January. Just looking at the times. A moment. And right now, for some peanuts, I'm going to say a decent game. Got to love the passion, says Paul. Yeah, well, both sides want to win this one. And it's always the case when they go head-to-head because last game it was 4 points difference between the two sides. And I feel like this game, it has the potential of being about that same scoreline. There could either be maybe a couple late tries pushing in one side's direction, but currently it does seem like it is going to be 50-50. Maybe, well, that's the thing. As this game goes on, does it favour Leinster or does it favour the home side, Munster? And I would almost argue it probably favours Munster if this game is close near the end because of the fact that they've got home field advantage. They've got the crowd behind them. Perhaps that will just take them to that little bit of a next level. Leinster, if they start this half well, I think that will almost carry them through. So, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainties about what is next for these two sides. And Peter Collada, more like it, Roof, says Razor Robinson in there as well. But currently, I would say only around 5 minutes from the next half of rugby getting underway. Maybe a little bit shorter than that, although we did have a long first half, so maybe they do cut it short so that they can get back out there and ready to go. Too tired to comment. Just going to listen. I've been hot here in Wellington, Western Cape, getting into the 36 degrees. Thanks for the commentary again, Hamish. Says, Bruce, well, thank you very much for being here, mate. Even in those extreme heat conditions, it is good to still see a win in Munster benefit for the second half. Says, was there from Paul, and which team has the most New Zealanders? I think they have the most luck, probably Munster. Well, they have got Alex Nagval for Munster. Jameson Gibbs-Park not playing for Leinster here. Michael Alatoa, although he is Samoan. And then you've also got Ollie Jaeger, who played rugby in New Zealand. I think he can play for the All Blacks if he got selected. Maybe. Do you follow any NFL, Hamish? I do not, sadly. Like, if there was nothing else on in terms of sport, I'd probably watch it just because I like watching some sort of sport. And here at the game, Leinster handling Munster's attack plus scrum comfortably. Can't say same about Munster. Munster fan, let's see what happens, or see what the wind does in the second half, says D. So yeah, hopefully you are somewhere that you are relatively dry, or you have a waterproof phone, because it does look like the weather is pretty rough there. And sharp as blade, cheers, good luck with your new appointment. And also we have got there, Thing Casey will not come back second half, calf, says Paul. So yeah, a little bit of a pain for Munster now, the fact that they have lost Casey, and they've mentioned about it earlier on as well, how many players Munster have lost due to injury over the last little while. And, you know, it does hurt a side, but then it also gives opportunities to other guys that maybe wouldn't have had that opportunity prior. So hopefully whoever does get that opportunity does make the most of it. I believe they have got Paddy Patterson to come off the bench. Look there, good one. Cape Town is strange at the moment. Don't know if it's summer or autumn, too bloody windy. And it's always cool to hear someone at the game and they listening to your commentary. I like vodka and orange as well, says Ruth in there. But yeah, the two sides just about to make their way back out onto the field. One moment, I am about to sneeze again. We are good and ready to go for the second half. Currently, they are playing zombie again. They have turned all the lights off. They've got people with their flashlights out in the crowd. The posts are also lit up, I believe, by the looks of that. But yeah, second half just around the corner. And I feel like both sides will want to start very quick. 5 minutes just going out there and throwing absolutely everything into it. Because if you can get those early points, for Munster, it would be their first points of the day. For Leinster, it would give them a very handy lead. Even if they didn't convert the try, that would be 11-0. And that is a hard score to try and make that, definitely in these conditions. Sometimes in the dry, you know, you find your rhythm. You get 1 or 2 tries in a row, and that can bring you back in. But in these kind of conditions, where it's just absolutely bucketing down, there's always that handling error or something that goes wrong when trying to score multiple tries in quick succession. So yeah, I think they'll definitely want to make the most of the early stages, the early opportunities that both of these sides get. Yeah, it does look like the posts are see-through, or not see-through, but kind of slightly glow in the dark, I guess. And then I think the lines were possibly the same as well. Leinster have made their way back out onto the field. Munster just about to make their way out of the tunnel, and I love Thorman Park, says Paul. And there, Munster, let's go, boys. Shake time, or shake down time, and translucent, says Gus. In there as well. Now Munster coming out of the tunnel, not giving anyone high fives. I think that's out of frustration that they haven't been able to have the half that they were after. But now they got the opportunity to turn it around. Only 6 points down in your head zombie, says Razor Robinson there. And also Christmas, Kiwi lads rock big time, says Roof. A Dogbo. He's one of the players who we probably haven't seen too much of. Normally he's known for having a couple big runs in a contest. I don't know if he's touched the ball yet, other than in lineouts. Munster, they will be kicking off from right to left. Simon Zebo warming up the legs, getting ready to go for the second 40 minutes. Now Jack Crowley kick this one off and get us back underway. Leinster are playing Springbok Rugby. Leinster just do enough to win, says Johannes, but it's nicely claimed by Jack Conan inside of the Leinster 22 now. McGrath. Put up the box kicker though. He's waiting for the opportunity. It hasn't quite arose yet in their breakdown. Bit of pressure being put on by Gavin Coombs. Now back into the pocket. Harry Byrne does kick this one downfield. Does not find touch. Simon Zebo. Nice pass out to Calvin Nash. He manages to step through Michael Alatoa. This is already a much better start for Munster. I should mention they are still playing with 14 men on the field as well. They have not returned to 15, just kicked off. Zebo having a great game. Looks dangerous. That is an advantage now for Munster. So this would be 3 points if they want it. Or can they get the full 7? Rush defence from Leinster with Gary Ringrose. Now Simon Zebo manages to find another offload away. Good run from John Hodnett. He is eventually tackled by Kieran Frawley. Trying to snap out of your coma, Munster. Des Roof finds the offload, and this is much better. They are getting that ball around Blake now. Penalty advantage, or in fact Clark it was. And just a little bit too high over the top for the man out on the wing. And it is going back for the penalty to Munster. Sounds like this will be a 3-pointer though for them, if they want it, Munster. But Zebo has looked like the best player on the field for either side, I believe. Oh, okay, Munster, now that they're back to 15, they are going to be going for the corner. Going aggressive early here, knowing that they need a lot of points if they want to walk away with the victory. Zebo has put in people in holes everywhere, says Razor Robinson. You're just narrowly missing that chance to take that ball with Thomas O'Hearn. He is a tall individual, but not quite tall enough there. Cut that one off. YouTube Bono, the best music. Our streets have no name. Irish boom, says Ruth. Now ball's thrown in. Odogbo takes it well. Munster now looking for this rolling maul, although Jack Conan's pretty well shut him down. Although they do have to release him. They aren't releasing him. That's going to be the penalty, yeah. It was a tackle, not a maul, which does mean Leinster weren't able to stay in that breakdown, so they do get penalised for not rolling away. Okay, sounds like Crowley's kicking for the corner again now. Big chat between him and Jack O'Donoghue. Okay, they're going to take on the shot here. They decided that maybe that is the better tactic moving forward to at least get some points on the board. Be a much better second half start here for Munster. I mentioned they were about $4.60 underdogs in this contest. They've already dropped a couple dollars just from the way that they've come out in the second half. Who was the best Irish fly half of all time? I mean, of recent time, of course, there's not really much of an argument for Johnny Sexton. Before Sexton, probably a bit above my pay grade, to be honest, in terms of who would have been the best of all generations. Johnny, says Razor Robinson. First kick of the match for Jack Crowley. It will be from 31 metres out. Crowd very silent at the moment, but this would be to get their first points of the contest. Craig Casey is actually back out onto the field. We'll be able to continue. Oh, tell you what, he's missed. That was really weird. Very weird for Jack Crowley. They decided to take the kick. He decided to use up every single second that he had on the clock and then continued to miss it. So I don't know why he waited so long. If he was hoping to use up some time, the line-out probably would have been the better call. We got there, hello, says Yvonne. And also crash, boom, bang. And also, okay, says Ruth. And there as well. But yeah, I hope you are doing well, Yvonne. I hope you're excited for your game you are going to next week. Now, nicely done by McGrath. But you got to take those chances. Munster did all the hard work to get that chance. And then to not be able to get the points on the board hurts them quite a bit. Hello, Yvonne. Says Ruth. And there's well, and I am. Says Yvonne. Okay, we will go like that. Now big run from McCarthy. He's in the effing side, I've just heard someone yell. Now, box kick attempted by Leinster. Has gone back to the good turnover. And Munster have got the ball back and they've also got the advantage for the knock on. But I hope the weather is better. Says Yvonne, yeah, there's been a lot of rainy games recently, unfortunately, in the Northern Hemisphere. So, yeah, hopefully it's nice and dry for the game that you end up going to. Now, Craig Casey putting the box kick up again. Chasing after that one's Calvin Nash, but it's cleaned up at the back here by Hugo Keenan. It's kicked out on the full. Mistake made. In fact, it was Luke McGrath who makes that mistake. Weather is rubbish all over, even in Cape Town. And I've got cheap seats. If it rains, I'm in trouble, says Yvonne. Have you got a big jacket? Because you may need one, I would say, if it is bucketing down like it has been for this game. And Clark with this line-out throw for Munster. They have had the much better start to the second half, although that was a bit loose. And line-out time is kicked downfield from Andrew Porter. And now 6 minutes into this half, this will actually be the first scrum that we have seen of the second half. But I do, worst case, I'll steal my dad's, says Yvonne. Yeah, it could be wet. Hopefully not, though. Like they've said, a miscommunication at line-out time for Munster again. Does lead to a few issues. You hear the Munster crowd chanting. So what's going on, Ruth? Says Yvonne there. But so far we've seen 51 carries from Munster compared to the 36 of Leinster. So they've had that advantage in that department. Now about to feed the ball in here, Munster. Trying to put the ball in, doesn't put it in. We're going to have another scrum reset and Munster crowd up for it, says Yvonne. And pretty much Yvonne are pretty slow here, recovery time from Christmas Day. In fairness to them. Says Yvonne, yeah, the crowd have been absolutely loving it. Even though the conditions have been dire, the crowd have made it a very awesome atmosphere. We can still hear the Munster chant at this scrum. I think Andrew Brace, it was signs of frustration from the referee there. He just wants a nice clean scrum, but there just hasn't really been too many opportunities for one. And boom, nothing Munster need to shake up a bit, and this is the biggest game of the year in Ireland. Says Yvonne. Yeah. And I mean, they would have much preferred that 21-17 game that happened last month. A nice run from Crowley. Going down the short side, tries to boot that one in behind. It's cleaned up by Leinster. It will now be the goal line dropout. Hugo Keenan having to fly across. We have got the Amish Bro, how many cakes and Christmas cookies you eat between the last 2 days? Not too many, to be honest. I've had a couple of those like mini chocolate chip cookies. But other than that, not a huge amount. Overall, been relatively well behaved. Irish is still on by, he's doing great, says Ruth. I got hit with that surprise sneeze just then, though. It was unfortunate. Simon Zebo now goes off to Jack O'Donoghue. Runs straight at the Leinster defence, although Max Deegan able to drive him backwards. Casey O'Dogbo's just collapsed. His knee's gone. Unfortunately, I mentioned how he hadn't had too many runs throughout the contest, but I think his knee has completely gone underneath him. And Andrew Brace, fair play to him, because he realised that on contact, or actually before he made it to contact, he had done his knee. And he pretty much said, nah, well, he's going to be under that breakdown. There's no need to push him around while he's, that knee's just gone. He slipped a little bit. And, Andrew Brace does stop the game so that they can make sure he's all right. Come on. And also, can Leinster win by 11 plus points? It's a hard one to say because if they get a try, they'll be up by 11. But Munster also haven't looked too shabby, so perhaps they could have a try just around the corner. Yeah, good. Love cake picture. Please put pictures of cake. I want to send off Instagram. I definitely replied to you. Says Michelle, I had to go on Instagram. I haven't actually been on Instagram for about 5 days or so, to be honest. So that is why I haven't seen any messages if you have put some. But we don't have any cake pictures. We didn't actually have a cake for Christmas. The only cake, cheesecake. There was a cheesecake a while ago, chocolate cheesecake. And here Santa is live on Twitch a few days ago. Someone asked him, when their elf you no longer need, do you auction them off? Like when the police no longer need old police cars. And shame to see his knee pop. Yeah, big shame for a dog boo. Because I mentioned we hadn't actually seen him that much in that first half. And now going off injured is a big shame. There you go. I have just mentioned about a dog bow and the fact that he is only 21 years of age, so he's got a bright future. And AIR means says Kiwi Gamer. And Leinster will win by 1 point, says Johannes. That is a possibility, to be honest. Like, it could easily be a 1 point contest between these two sides, but we had 10 minutes of this first half, or the second half, sorry. I said that whoever had the better start to this half will have the momentum, and you'd have to say that Munster have had a majority of that, but they still haven't got those points on the board. They had the opportunity for 3, but Crowley ended up messing it up. Pineapple cake, says Michelle, and caramel fresh cream cake. I feel like Munster have a try in them, says Yvonne, and that is going to be the penalty to Munster now. This is 42 metres out, and this is probably more of a Crawley kick. Or Crowley kick, sorry. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kick for the corner as well. Go a little bit more aggressive. Andrew Porter this time has been penalised for not driving straight. It's really been a 50-50 at scrum time between him and Ollie Jaeger. Right. Crowley to line up this kick here. Andrew Porter, mate, get it together, says Razor Robinson. Now, I'm hoping Crowley won't use up all of the shot clock again here. I think if in dedication, says Robert, that is all right. It's not ideal, of course, with the amount of sneezing and nose blowing and everything. I feel like I look half asleep at the moment. That's not because I am. It's just because of hay fever, unfortunately. Now, Crowley, he's got 30 seconds. I hope he doesn't use up all this time. But he might. Looking at the post, deep breath, looking at the ball, nodding his head saying, yep, I've got it. Does he have it? No, he does. And that will be the first points on the board for Munster in this contest up against Leinster. The score now sits 3 points to 6. I always think the internet's gone off when you freeze, says Nuzzy Williams. Oh, looks like Luke McGrath just having a bit of a chat to Andrew Brace there. And also Hamish Munster, let's go. Here's Ruth. Right. So, 3 points difference. Munster have had all of the ball throughout this second half this far. 12 minutes gone, and they have looked very strong during this time. But can they continue that? Or Will there be a mistake somewhere along the lines? Over there, who's going to take the ball by the horns and score a try for Munster? Says Roof, to be honest, if anyone was going to, it would be Simon Zebo, just because he has looked the best out of all the Munster players. In fact, out of all players on the field, feels Simon Zebo has been the pick of them. Now kick downfield, it's actually gone out just outside of the 22. Craig Casey not quite getting that one correct, picking Munster. Says Nars Williams, and at the moment, the way that it sits, Munster are $3.60 underdogs by the looks of it. So they're still in the contest, but it's whether or not Leinster can score now and create a little bit more of a gap between the two sides. Ronan Kelleher throw this ball in 25 metres out from the line, nicely claimed by Jack Conan. And they are now set and ready to maul. Have they replaced the Dogbo yet? They certainly have. So he has been taken off the field, and I think they've made a little adjustment in terms of where everyone's playing, but Brian Gleeson, the man who came onto the field for him, so he is still in lock, but they might consider moving Gavin Coombs at some point if they need to. The strip is good. And now big run from Jeremy Luckman. They managed to get the turnover. And Munster, they have numbers on the outside, but Nankerville decides to straighten with the run. And happy Christmas 2 days later, says Brandon. Same to you, mate. And also, I'll eat 4 to 5 pieces, definitely in one time, of minimum size of the pastry, says Michelle. And also, I see Aston Villa is leading against Man United at Old Trafford 2-0, and it's half time, says Marnus. But the penalty is for off feet. That is against Andrew Porter again, so he has had a very heavily penalised game at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to take him off soon. Crowley managing to get the strip, sealing off the contest. And Marnus can confirm, says Gus. And there as well, Liverpool forever Hamish, says Roof. And get it together, Porter. Yeah, I think he's going to be changed very soon. I don't think they can afford to leave him out there, to be honest, which is a weird thing to say with a player like Andrew Porter. They said he was sealing off. So they've got Ed Byrne, and I think that he might be a good choice to bring off the bench very soon. And yes, says Yvonne. And also concur, Roof, Man United sucks, says Simran. Now 26 minutes remaining. Like a couple players, Jason Jenkins getting ready to make his way out onto the field. Jack Crowley now to kick this ball towards the touchline. Hasn't quite got that one where he would have liked, and it hasn't found touch. I'm the biggest Liverpool supporter. Says Danston, and what number is Nankerville? Nankerville is playing number 12. On his outside's Anton Frisch, and we haven't actually seen him touch the ball. Penalty to Leinster on the halfway line. McCarthy jumping up. It was actually Porter this time who wins the penalty, so trying to get his own back. I love Liverpool, says Ruth. And there as well. One's gone into touch. Nice and good on you, Porter. Says Razor Robinson. Isn't it a weird game sometimes? Here you can go from hero to zero, all within like a matter of moments. He's currently sitting at hero because he got that turnover, but if he gives away another penalty, he'll go straight back to that 0 mark. So be interested to see how he goes throughout the last few moments. And what a turnover. And now Leinster have got themselves the ball in an attacking position. Luke McGrath going off to the right-hand side to Maloney, who was waiting for it. But I have to support Arsenal, otherwise my football-obsessed friends kill me, Ruth. Says Simran. And also Boomfa. I think that is from Razor. And Sir Alex Ferguson would be so angry. There's Ruth there. Short ball. 10 metres out. Now McCarthy taken down low again. Question time, what final do you want to see in the sevens? I mean, Fiji versus New Zealand is always awesome. South Africa in there, Samoa. Those type of sides are always great in a final. And Argentina bring the passion to the final as well. Now only 5 metres out from the line. Andrew Porter. The pick and go. Will there be any tries? I believe so. There could actually be one just around the corner for Leinster here. Okay, Simran Arsenal are good. So here's Ruth. Now, to the right again here. Scott Penny decided he'll go with his pick and go. Big shot coming in on Frawley. I think that was by Jeremy Luckman who caught him off balance. And Munster, says Ruth. Of course, Munster's defence, known for being extremely strong, just out from their own try line. And bloody slow ball, man. Says Razor. And also Leinster taking 5 seconds ahead, and that is the penalty now for Munster. So eventually, winning the penalty. Oh, we have good there, Samo. Samo, you do love Samo, don't you, Hamish? Says Brandon, although they were about the 4th team that I listed overall. Do you think this game can do with a late try by Leinster or Munster to make the game a bit more interesting? Says Marnus, I think it's going to be relatively close. And I still feel like both of these sides have got the potential of scoring in this matchup. But, yeah, currently it's just been very hard to get through. Just bucketing down Razor. And also, I'm an Arsenal fan. My big brother sports Arsenal also. Says Michelle, my goodness, this is really Tapuggy? Tough. Yeah, I was wondering what that word was, to be honest. I'd never heard of it before. Once see Sam. Says Brandon. Now, it'll be a kick towards the touchline. Now line out. Clark will be in charge of throwing this one in. It is claimed by Munster here now. Great Casey looking to the short side, trying to decide what his next option will be. Big shot. 2-man tackle on Jeremy Luckman, led by Andrew Porter. That was close. Leinster get the penalty, they do. Joe McCarthy is absolutely loving it at the moment. He's got a big smile on his face. Like they've said, maybe the shot will be called, and it is for this one. Also, we've got this called Raining Cats and Dogs. And also, I want to see Samoa make the final versus Fiji. What it will be, Sam, my old dogs miss him, says Brandon. Samoa Fiji would be a huge final. But I don't think we've been able to see it as a final yet, have we? Since they returned to the 7th Circuit. So yeah, it'll be interesting. The next leg is late January. Big stretch here in Perth, I believe it actually is. And now lining up the shot for Leinster will be Harry Byrne. See that Dan Sheehan has made his way onto the field. That's to replace Ronan Kelleher. 2 from 2 though for Byrne. 34 metres out, so should be a kickable 3 for a man of his calibre. And he's missed it. That is how you jinx a man, ladies and gentlemen. Are you covering any test match? Not these ones that are happening now, sadly, due to the fact that in terms of when they are happening, it does overlap with when we are away. In this game, there is yet to be a try scored. That is true. 60 minutes gone. No tries as of yet in this contest. We are good. Can you please cover BBL sometime? We are hoping to do a little bit of the BBL, although it does fall into that same boat of the tests, how unfortunately we just won't be able to do it with the overlaps that we have with going away. Alright, first knock on by Blue, then by Munster, which means that it is a Munster scrum. This game's still very close. I still feel like I don't know who's going to win it. And it could honestly be one try. And if we press the slow motion button, what's the score? Or where's the score? Come on. Keep it together. Says Roof, and also Amesbro, I like sevens. Next year's at 2024. It's a big tournament. That's coming, says Michelle. It is. The Olympics. It's going to be taking place for the 2 sides, or the multiple sides. And as well as the 7th Circuit still continuing. Like I mentioned, Perth, the next round, that is going to be late January that we see that one take place. Now ball is fed in. Cross kick now. Munster have found a lot of space. Shane Daly, it sits up for him. But by the time it bounces, Leinster were across and they were ready to cover it. Patterson gets the ball off. And there's going to be a massive shot coming in. They did knock the ball on. It is advantage over O'Donoghue. What's he done there? He's tried to keep the ball in the field of play. He's almost swatted away so that Leinster could go on and get themselves a try. I have no idea why he tried to do that. It's going to be the scrum feed now, I believe, or the line out. Yeah, the cross kick. It looked like it was well and truly going to be useful. Oh, mate, that was almost costly. It almost was, yeah. Making the mistake of trying to keep that ball in the field of play in Super Rugby teams, or Super Rugby returns in Six Nations. Says Brandon, and no yellow or red cards. We've seen the one yellow for Craig Casey. Fiji better maintain their gold medal title for the Sevens. And also, mate, that was almost costly, but now nice run forward from John Hodnett. Sitting just 25 metres out from his own line. Counter ruck is good from Leinster. Almost a little knock on the ground from McGrath, I believe, but it is play on just for now. Ball pops out the side and the penalty goes the way of Leinster. Playing the ball on the ground. That'll be against Gleeson. That's okay, bro. I have to sleep now. It's 2:37 a.m. at the moment and I'm watching your stream continuing. Says Vishal and Yvonne, thanks. I missed it. Pouring my gin and tonic. Says Ruth in there as well. Nice bit of work though from Leinster with that counter-attack. Hurricanes to win 2024 Super Rugby. There's Razor Robinson. I mean, I have a Hurricanes kit, so that would work quite well if it was the case. Now they will be lining up this one, Leinster. Go back to a 6-point lead. It's been a low-scoring game between these two sides. An island for the slam. Says Yvonne. And goodbye for Charles. Says Razor and Blues will win. Says Jean. And the kick. Well, it's missed. We didn't get to see it because Michael Alatoa stepped in front of the camera. But he missed. And that is now going to keep the score at 6 points to 3. Good night, all of you guys. Have fun. Enjoy Hamish Bro commentary. Love you all, says Michelle. So we will see you later on, mate. And also we have got there, no way, it's the year of the yellow, says Razor. And also Harry Byrne having more, or having a mere, says Yvonne. Now Jack Conan runs it forward. And you wonder at what stage do Leinster decide maybe we should go for the corner rather than going for the three-pointers here if the kick is not quite able to do what he needs to. Excuse me, have some faith in the Highlanders, says Simran. Yep. They should do well. Top 10, I'd say, in the comp. Highlanders will be looking for. Their Crusaders lost so much of their staff to the AB, says Jean. That's going to be a knock-on there from Leinster. Another attack goes begging. Who was the best Highlanders or Hurricanes winger ever? Oh, tell you what, there's a few options. You know, you could look at someone like a Corey Jane comes to mind. Back more old school. I mean, midfield-wise, you got combo of Smith as well as Tana Umaga. That was always decent. Alamape, fabulous. Savi has had some decent runs for the Hurricanes in the past. Christian Cullen, fullback though, rather than out on the wing. Trying to think of the old school wingers from like the Cullen era. Who else they had out on the wing? Well, they're saying Ollie Jaeger could be in consideration for the Irish Six Nations squad. I'm a Crusaders diehard fan. Sears Roof. Lomu. Good point. We have got there what happened to that girl that was hotly pursuing you, Hamish, the one who was super intense. Says Yvonne. One of them is they pop in every once in a while, although I don't think that's the one you were talking about. The other one was not a real female. It was a guy impersonating the female account. But we worked that out pretty quick, so that was good. and Tana. Says Razor and John Alomu, he was Supremo. Says Ruth. Prime Jose, oh yeah, the Gear brothers. They were always a good one. We have good there, well. Says Yvonne. And the one from South Africa, Yvonne, says Jean. That's going to be another mistake there from Leinster. Currently 13 minutes remaining. This is anyone's game. And at the moment, Munster are considered $4.80 underdogs. English, I thought. So yeah, that was the one that was a guy. Yeah. Other one from South Africa. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Now changes being made. Scott Penny going off the field. Man United has scored, or has scored, but was ruled out. Still 2-0 for Ashton Villa. Says Manus. So yeah, that's probably a good result at the moment for them. Oh, the odds have changed again. That's how quickly this game is adjusting. $4.80 they were. Now they go to $3.70. Didn't see much of Scott Penny. No, not really. He's had his couple moments. I think he got a turnover earlier on in the breakdown. I should have guessed that. It was very weird. Says Yvonne. But yeah, I feel like that is a perfect example of why you cannot trust people online. You got to make sure you're careful with your online. I was going to say your online security, but they weren't trying to get into my account or anything. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, you just got to be wary of people. They could be catfishing you. And catfish is yuck. Says Jean there. Now Frawley, not quite stolen in the breakdown. In fact, that's kind of close for Gavin Coombs, and he does get the penalty there. Hamish, I'm legit. Says Yvonne. See, the good news is, because we also, like, you follow us on Instagram, it's harder to fake an Instagram and a YouTube, if that makes sense. Like, yes, you can still do it, but because your YouTube and your there's like things that give it away that you are a person, or at least you are who you say you are, if that makes sense. And turnover, says Razor Ronson. Yeah, good turnover one by Gavin Coombs. Now kicking this one for the touchline. Oh, this is tight stuff. Yeah, watch out for sizzlers. Says Robert. 12 minutes remaining. Munster for the corner. And it's their chance now to go on and get themselves the one day. We'll have AI catfishing us. I'm definitely a person, a rugby person, says Yvonne there. And now the line out for Munster. The crowd are on their feet and ready to help their team over the line. Come on, Munster. Says Razor Robinson and Munster. And can I give you the score after day one between South Africa and India? I honestly would prefer if you didn't, only because I was hoping to watch the rest of the day's highlights afterwards. If you can keep it secret, it would be greatly appreciated. But I did see the first session, so I know what the score was after that, but I didn't see anything else in terms of the score. And Munster, says Ruth, and there as well. It's not a great game, but the boys are giving it their all. Yeah, both of the sides, like, even though there's been multiple handling errors and it has been a little bit rough at times, like, there's no doubt that these two sides want to get that victory here. And it's just the conditions have been so tricky for them to be able to find any sort of momentum. Like, 6 points to 3 will definitely be one of the lowest scoring games we've seen of the URC thus far. It's going to be into touch. Okay, I will not say the score. Says Martis, hugely appreciated. Now, 10 minutes remaining. Sounds like we have got another stoppage here. And did anyone see that Scarlet's got beaten by Black Lions in the Champions Cup? Says Yvonne. In the Champions Cup, or was that the Challenge Cup game, was it? Myra Sheen. And also Rabada took 5 wickets, says Ruth. And this reminds me of 2012 Wellington first 15 final between Wellington College and St. Pat's Silverstream. Wellington won 3-6, says Razor. Now that's going to be nicely slapped to the Leinster side. It seems like Munster at the moment just can't quite win that line out that they need. Challenge Cup, sorry, says Yvonne. No worries. But yeah, there's been some upsets along the way in the Champions and Challenge Cup from the first 2 rounds. Just onside. Against Welsh Rugby is terrible state, or in a terrible state. And how did Scarlets and the Ospreys do? Says Jean sliding onto that one. Calvin Nash not taking it cleanly. He might have taken a kick to the head as well with the way he reacted. There is another knock on. The ball is loose. And Leinster now will have themselves a scrum. Munster now $5.50 underdogs. The score after the first session was 91-3. India, says Marnus. It certainly was. So yeah, that is as far as I got in terms of being able to watch it. So I was hoping to watch some extended highlights or something. I went to see exactly how it went. I didn't watch much, says Yvonne. And in that game was players like Dylan Hayes, Aviata, hopefully I said that correctly. Nelson Asafa Solomona and Chase Tia. Says Razor Robinson. So that was 6 points to 3 in that contest. And yeah, we're currently sitting at that. So like there is a chance, yeah, he just ate the knee. Unfortunately, as he was sliding through on the ground. 9 minutes left. Next try wins. I think is almost a safe bet to say here. Kind of like the old school playing at lunch during school. You know? And it's next try wins because no one knows what the score was. No one was keeping track. Didn't Doug Howlett play for the Hurricanes? He was more of a blues man for most of his career, I believe. Alex Nankerville now being taken off the field. O'Brien to make his way out there. The closing moments of this game. It was a rainy old day in Wellington that day, says Razor Robinson. So pretty similar, I guess, to the conditions in this one. And yeah, it just shows sometimes no matter how much you want it to work in terms of your attack, like it just doesn't work. Do you think Bavuma's injury on the field during that session will be big losses however? I think it will hurt them quite a bit. But saying that Bavuma hasn't been in the best form anyway, but having an extra batter, of course, would be hugely beneficial. For South Africa on Rugby 08, I think Howlett is for the Blues. And come on, Munster Hamish, says Padraig, and also the Blues. Says Roof there. I feel like we mainly play Bull Rush during lunch. Says Simran. Bull Rush was allowed at our school till it got banned. But that's because like people were playing it on sand. Like we had a sand pit, big volleyball type area, and everyone would just play Bull Rush on it. But the problem was around the outside was concrete. So if you missed the sand, it was quite hard. Rugby 06 and Rugby 08 was probably the best rugby games. Cheers, Jean. And it's going to be time off again now. I'd love to do a Rugby 08 series at some stage. Not sure when. He was also anyway injured. So I didn't even know why he was picked. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They needed to be a little bit smarter with it, I would say, in that regard. You can't afford to take half-injured players into big matches. And Auckland Blues, who was their best backline combination, says Roof. I mean, having Doug Howlett in there would definitely be a good shout. We used to play with weapons like trees, scissors, bats, pillowcases with soap, etc. Says Razor Robinson. We used to try and play cricket at lunchtime at school, but sometimes you wouldn't be able to because kids would be using them as their, like, rifles. You know, and the cones. You weren't able to put cones down because they had them on their hands going... So, yeah, that was why you couldn't play with the cones. And the bat, you had to try and reason with them, be like, hey, mate, use a stick. We need the bat. But Barrett, Carlos Spencer, Mills Miliaina. The boys want to let us girls play, and the teachers threatened to ban it, so they allowed us to play. Says Simran and Hamish, can online be possible on PlayStation 2? I think it is, but I honestly don't actually know how it works, because I'd assume you'd have to plug everything in. And I don't even know if it has an Ethernet cable for those old school ones. I guess it would. Maybe. The scoreline is good for points difference, says Miminia. Very true. Extremely close between them. Charles Piatel. There's Razor Robinson. Now box kick coming in from Leinster again. Slap back by Munster. And they have got the ball back. Another kick coming from Paddy Patterson. And it's gone out on the full. Another little mistake near the end of the contest. It's going to hurt them big time. And Matanonu says Razor Robinson. Now Dan Sheehan with the line-out throw. Many good players from the Blues. Says Razor Robinson. 6 minutes isn't a long time, and one penalty could be the difference here. I mentioned next try wins, and I think that is still definitely how we stand. Many good players from the Blues. There's Razor Robinson. Now thrown in. Leinster with Dan Sheehan. Big Fenn coming in. A good low tackle made as well. Contest is over in the breakdown. Joe McCarthy. Now trying to get a big run round the side. Also, where are they on the field at the moment? They are sitting 35 metres out here, Leinster. I wish you a happy new year, Kiwi lad. Right back at you, Shadow Slayer. It's going to be another knock on. This time against Leinster. And Munster now have got themselves the ball. Don't forget Tony Woodcock on the wing. There's Razor Robinson. And also Man United has scored a goal. Aston Villa is now 2-1 ahead. There's Marnus. And also Nonu says Ruth. And they have 5 minutes left now and another scrum feed. Just a mistake from Hugo Keenan. I think Hugo Keenan, did they just say that the wind blew the ball out of his hands rather than him just dropping it? Woodcock started in the final versus France right in 2011, says Jean, I believe so. He had quite a few caps for the UABs, Tony Woodcock. Now scrum feed for Munster. 5 minutes left. That's the penalty to Leinster though. And that could do it. If they get this kick over, they'll have 6 points ahead. And Munster would be forced to take a try. I'll try to score one best prop tries. Says Jean. And yet Woodcock busted through the line out and scored a big try. I feel bad because I asked you to cover this game and it's really not great. Thanks and sorry, says Yvonne. It's okay. Like at the end of the day, we aren't leaving for the trip till tomorrow. So, it's all good. I didn't predict that I'd have as bad a hay fever as I have. That was probably the slightly unfortunate part. Also, the Wi-Fi cut out for 5 minutes during that first half. But other than that, you know, it's a close game and there's still a bit left. And attack, and I always say it, like whether we've got a few people watching or a whole heap, like, it's always awesome to see you guys on these live streams. Which matches you're covering this week, Hamish? It's a little bit tricky. I will be away on holiday. So I think we're going to have maybe a lineup video, maybe a preview, rather than a live stream this weekend. Because I want to do Sharks Stormers, but I believe with where I am at the time that game takes place, it's going to be very tricky to be able to cover it. But I do still want to be able to do a lineups video for that game, as well as probably doing some sort of preview or a review of that game. Because I'll more than likely be able to watch it. I just won't be able to actually cover it, sadly. Okay, there, nice man. Where you headed? We are going to Wanaka. Although we're kind of floating around that area. I think we're going to end up in Cromwell as well at some point. We're a little Kiwi lads family, says Yvonne. And who was the scrum half, says Ruth, for that 2011 one. Ooh. Who was 2011? That was just before Aaron Smith, wasn't it? And Cozy family here, says Robert. Now 3 minutes remaining on the clock here currently. Going around the side of the breakdown. Leinster know that the longer they keep this ball. It was interesting that they didn't take on the 3 points though. They decided that they had to try and score a try to take Munster out of this game. And Piriwepu, yes. And I was go surfing at Golden Bay, dude. I spent a lot of time down there. Says Razor, my only problem there is I can't surf. Or at least I've never surfed before, so I feel like that would be a recipe for disaster. And they have been told to use it. 2.5 minutes remaining. They'll be waiting to see if Munster do end up giving away a penalty that eventually could lead to either the try or 3 points. Because if Leinster, there is the advantage. Yeah, Leinster can look at this strategically and say, you know, if we wait long enough, that's cynical. Might even be a yellow card. Yes, it is. Going to be going from the field. It is 14 versus 15. There's still too much time left. A surfer, says Razor, and also Wepu and Piriwepu. Says Roof there as well. And Serving USA Beach Boys, says Ruth. Right, they've taken the scrum. And like I was just about to say, if Leinster score now, it actually means that Munster do not get a bonus point for being within 7. So that would actually help drastically in terms of Leinster stopping another Irish side from actually progressing in the competition further. And last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away, says Marnus. Quite a few Christmas songs being played, of course, at the moment. Huge amount of them, in fact. Like any time you went on the radio station, probably 5 days before Christmas, just Christmas song after Christmas song. Wham, says Ruth. Now we have got only 100 seconds remaining on the clock. George Michaels enters the room. Says, what's there from Jean? Looks like Ollie Jaeger might actually have to make his way back out onto the field due to that change of Jeremy Luckman off the field for the yellow card. Here comes Ollie Jaeger. He's replacing Kelvin Nash in this case. Took a bit of a knock earlier on. He's not happy with how he has played in this contest. Wake me up before you go. Says Ruth. And also discussing performance. Those Munster players should get a rollicking from Roundtree. They absolutely themselves here. A completely unacceptable game. One most will want to forget. And so this year, the same from Tears, I'll give it to someone special. Finished it for you, Marnus. Says Simran, that's going to be time off again. Kelvin Nash, never heard of him. And how's the weather in New Zealand? It's rainy here in Johannesburg. It's not great here. Like, it looks like it's about to bucket down. But it's currently 12 degrees and cloudy. So, hopefully it doesn't rain too heavily. If it does later on. Control the bind, said Andrew Brace. Now, 90 seconds left. This all uses up time. Ideally for Leinster here, they will want to win a penalty. Oh, time is off again. Because if they manage to win themselves the penalty, or at least actually they want to win the penalty advantage, because then they can go with 3 or 4 phases. If they don't score, then from there they can go for the 3 points. They can close out the game with a 6-point win. So that is probably on paper what they want to be able to do. Whether or not Leinster are able to do that in this game, that's been a bit unpredictable. We will soon find out. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, Amish, and everyone. Says Candace, hope you had a Merry Christmas too. Hopefully it all went smoothly. Now, another scrum here. Ball has gone in. Leinster have the penalty advantage. That is step 1. Although, referee gives it straight away for the penalty. And there is still too much time left on the clock, I believe, for them to be able to close out this contest, although they are still celebrating, so that might use up just enough time. I'm from South Africa also. Also from South Africa. Says Shadow Slayer. So they have now got 55 seconds left on the clock, and I believe Leinster will look to just take the 3 points here. I think they've used up enough time in the celebration for the scrum feed that they will be able to close out this game, and it would be 9 points to 3. So Munster would get themselves a bonus point for being within 7, but the first time, I think on the channel, that we have covered a game that has been tryless. So a little bit of history being made here. I can't think of another game that hasn't had a try anyway that we have covered on the channel. But now waiting 15 seconds so that the clock has hit full time. Joe McCarthy looking around like he is very confused. He was just waiting to see. And what a terrible game. Thanks, Amy. Have a lovely day and well done, Leinster. And also not a good game for Munster. I hope you have a happy new year. Give it there, but that kick has gone over. And that will be the end of it. Leinster win it 9 points to 3. And boring game by the looks of it. Says Jean. It wasn't the best overall for the contest, to be honest. So much yummy food. Says Candace, and not a good game for Munster. And I'd argue not a good game for Leinster either. There were a lot of handling errors. No side really able to find their momentum. It took 2 hours to get through this game because of the about 25 minutes we had of stoppages throughout. And congratulations, Leinster, best of 2, says Ruth. And hope you have a happy new year, Kiwi lad. Says Shadow Slayer. So yeah, hopefully you do too. I should mention this is actually the last live stream I believe we've got before the new year. So yeah, hopefully you guys do enjoy the New Year's Eve, the New Year's Day. We will be back early on after that. I believe about the 3rd of January is when we will get back. We missed watching those New Zealand South Africa Super Rugby games. Says Jean there, or Jean. And also thank you, Hamish. Says Robert. And yeah, thanks, Hamish. Awesome commentary. Kiwi Lads Rock. Says Ruth. And there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy and you aren't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this live stream. I will see you all for the next one.